Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, again, hate to say it, I was right, but I was right two times. Once, I was right because India already took China's and Russia's side economically against the United States of America. And the second one is that they really can't understand and accept this one, the other side. Instead of planning and changing the attitude, they still do the same thing. They live in denial. They still live under an ideological stupidity, which is we cannot make mistakes, we are strongest, we are the strongest, and we can kick everybody around. Well, it's not really like that, and I will explain why. Here you have this article from Business Insider, and this guy surprisingly said it's not just China. India's now pushing a de-dollarization narrative by touting the use of the rupee for trade. Oh, now? It's just you guys that realize that now India is pushing. I've been saying this for, I don't know, about a year and a half already. I can't believe these guys did not know this was the trend. This was the direction. Now it's very clear, I guess, but let's see what's going on. Hello, Modi. So, India's pushing to internationalize the Indian rupee, according to a report from its central bank. Countries globally are lining up alternative currencies for trade amid the de-dollarization discourse, but the US dollar still accounts for almost 90% of global foreign currency transactions. So all this is nothing because we still are 80-90%. Okay, it's not just China that's trying to internationalize its national currency. India now at it too, as the Reserve Bank of India, or RBI, indicated in a report made public on Wednesday. The US dollar has been the world's reserve currency since the Second World War, playing a crucial role in the world's trade and financial system. And they took over, and then the Europeans did not like that a bit, and they came up with the euro eventually. But they came with their national. That's why the Deutsche Mark and the Swiss franc was still a good alternative, and not only. The pound, the English pound was also, or the British pound, which way should I use it? But sweeping sanctions against Russia that expelled the country from the US dollar-dominated global financial system spooked other countries so much they are now lining up backup currencies for trade. So, yeah, and I'm quoting, the internationalization of a currency is also closely interlinked with a nation's economic progress, especially its prominence in global trade, an RBI working group said in the report. Well, let's make it easy for everyone to understand. When you go to a bank and you have your savings over there and you do business with the bank, and then we all do, let's say we have a neighborhood, and the whole neighborhood does business with one bank. Let's call it the Bank of the Weasels. And the Bank of the Weasels get our, salaries go in, we take money out, we do business with a bank. And all of a sudden, let's say I, which would be very unusual, get in verbal altercation with Gigi, the neighbor. And let's say we get deeper than that. And there's a police department somewhere, and it's a courthouse. They should take care of this, okay? The police should come and say, hey, wait a second, and then we're gonna have the court procedures and so on, which is United Nations basically. That's what it is. They take care of us, but not the bank. The bank is not the United Nations. The bank is the bank, Weasel Bank. But the Weasel Bank says, you know what? I'm going to freeze Emil's assets. Before they figure things out over there between Emil and Gigi, the Bank of Weasels will freeze my accounts. Everything. And like, huh? Now, people that might agree with Gigi and are just limited say, yeah, that's good. Yeah, punish Emil. Without realizing that the Bank of the Weasels have no authority to do that. That's only those guys over there. The police to stop the thing, and the courts to figure out what's going on and dispense justice. Correct? Correct. So they don't see further than their first stupid interest. Yes, punish Emil because Emil beats up Gigi, and we're not going to go into details right now. Emil bad, Gigi good. Yeah, good job, bank. The bank has no jurisdiction, has no really nothing to do with this. These idiots do not realize that if the bank, the Weasel Bank, does that to Emil, they can do it to them. And to them and them whenever they feel like. Well, other people that are on the fence or saying, well, maybe the fight between Emil and Gigi is not, wait, let's let the authorities take care of that, the police and the courts. Those guys look at it and say, wait a minute, I'm not trusting the Weasel Bank anymore because the Weasel Bank did this to Emil, Russia, right? So it could do that to me, to Gigi one day if they don't like what Gigi does. And he has no jurisdiction. Nothing to do with this. So then they say, wait a minute, how about we don't trust Gigi Bank. We make Weasel Bank. We're going to make, a beautiful bank. So they will create a beautiful bank as an alternative to the Weasel Bank that already showed his beautiful face. Okay, so that's what they're doing right now. And these guys are all surprised from the bank. What's going on with you guys? Are you setting a beautiful bank? Yeah, we don't do it because you're bad. No, Weasel Bank, we don't do it because of that. We do it because we like diversity. We like capitalism, competition, right? Yeah, but not here. No diversity here. No competition here, just me, just me. That's the way it goes. The problem is, this bank, the Weasel Bank, cannot punish those guys. Why? Because those guys in the neighborhood, they used to be able to, but now they can't, because those guys grew too big. They're too big. And I'm going to give you a little story. When I was much younger, and I used to live in the communist Romania, and after, at school, the teachers somehow were allowed to beat you up. Corporal punishment was allowed. I don't know under what kind of law, because I was at the end of it many times. I was not listening. Well, it's okay, don't listen. You have to find, as an educator, certain intellectual ways to make the child do what you want him to do. Beating up a child is the most rudimentary way of having a child to listen to you for that particular moment, and then after you turn your back, the kid is going to hate you, is going to do the same thing over and over. But anyway, these guys were idiots. So anyway, they were allowed to beat you up in school, and somehow the parents will not show up and beat the teacher or go to the police and report it, because that's the way it was. I don't know. Maybe ask the other Romanians. I don't want to say it. Why exactly? Because people will say, again with Romania? Yeah, again with Romania. So even right now, it's... anyway, I don't think right now in Romania, corporal punishment is still acceptable. People realize that, wait a minute, what's going on? A stranger beats my child that I'm feeding? What? Boom. Anyway, so that would happen. So you were on your own as a child over there with the teacher. You are small, you get it, but you grow. And kind of in the high school, you become a little bit taller. You become a little bit with balls. You become with, maybe you practice some sports, anything. And when a teacher comes to you and tries to hit you, you block it or you grab the hands of the female teacher, of the male teacher. Then you know who's in trouble? You. Why? Because you didn't allow them to beat you up. It happened, all right? It happened many times. And let me just tell you this. Well, it happens only one time, because after the one time, the same teacher will not dare to do the same thing to the high school student, all right? Not reporting it. You get in trouble if you block it or you grab the hand. Oh my God, it's very rude. You are supposed to get it. Why? Who are you? A teacher. You are supposed to teach me, not to beat me. Don't educate me like that. It's not your job to do that. Well, in Romanian, can say it. It was admissible. The problem is this. When some students reached that point, some others were slow. Like, I don't know, shorter or scared and so on, they still got beaten by the teachers. But the other ones were not, because they were already too old and the teacher was afraid to hit them. From previous experience or from being afraid. But the other ones will get beaten up in the 11th grade, in the 12th grade, 10th grade. Now imagine that here in America, for instance. What would happen if a teacher goes and starts slapping a child? That guy is going to lose his job unless, even though if the child is not going to, that teacher. Anyway, that didn't get that far in my experience. But some teachers were waited outside after an hour, just so you know. So yeah, okay, I'll meet you, and after an hour, the teacher will be waited somewhere on the way back, walking home in Romania by the student, or by the students, or the student and his brothers, or friends, or gang, and he would get it. And then the police come and take care of the student, obviously. But still. So my point here is India, China, Russia, and Brazil, and many others, like Iran was as it was, North Korea as it was, Turkey, they became too big for the teacher, self-appointed teacher, United States of America, to be able to smack them all together. Maybe one-on-one would be a different story, but you see, the teacher doesn't want to get in a fight with the student. The teacher wants to slap the student. The same way as the States. The United States doesn't want to get in a fight with Russia, or with Turkey, or with China, or with India, or with Brazil. No, they want to use maybe some others to beat them up. Or just beat them up, but the other ones should not retaliate. The problem is these guys are already too big, and they will retaliate, and they will cause damage to the teacher, self-appointed teacher. Alright, so that's the problem right now. And the teacher right now is in an inability to use its only way of disciplining a child, which is through beating. That's the only method that parent or teacher has. And imagine what kind of students are going to create, or children, out of that. So again, the same United States cannot learn, United States cannot learn and go back to negotiation, diplomacy. It's hard. It's hard after you're used to solving the problems with slapping, to negotiate, because that means training, means brain, means self-control. I mean, if you could solve a problem just with a smack, it's very efficient, you got what you want, and that's it. Boom, right there. But you have to negotiate, you have to convince people, you have to use your brain, you have to give, you gotta give and take, and so on. That takes time, that takes a little bit of patience. You feel like strangling a guy, but you can't because, and so on. Okay? So that's where we are in a plain thing. These guys are living in a denial still. The teacher, why? I'm so good and I can punish you. And the other ones don't want to have anything to do with you, which is the bank. All right? Nothing with you. Why? Because you already violated your trust. I don't trust you. I'm not going to put my money in you. I'm going to put my money in the beautiful bank. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.